Hey, it's Dan Morales. This is Homebuyer Radio episode number 152. This week, what I want to talk about is the blind leading the blind. Right? Okay, so what are you talking about, Dan? What do you mean the blind leading the blind? Well, I mean just that, the blind leading the blind. Over the course of the last week, I have dealt with a number of clients, and a number of these clients have either been exposed to a mortgage loan officer who has no clue at what they're doing, and or a realtor who has no clue of what they're doing. And so these clients, who are oftentimes younger, inexperienced home buyers, are trusting in the fact that they're working with somebody who actually has a clue and knows what they're doing, only to be underrepresented by their realtor and to be misrepresented by the mortgage loan officer that they've talked to. So why the blind leading the blind? I'm just going to go, and tell more stories about the stuff I deal with day in and day out. And, if you can't tell, there's an increasing amount of frustration, in my voice, because it is like an epidemic, okay? I can tell you that as somebody who's kind of a student of the local marketplace and the marketplace nationwide, the people that I see coming into this industry, because, hey, the market's been really good. It's a great housing market. It doesn't take a lot of skill or knowledge to be, have a certain level of success in the real estate market, just because it's like shooting fish in the barrel to a certain extent. Whenever I've seen markets like this, right, and I've lent for 29 years, I've seen markets come and go. I've seen people come in and go back out multiple times, and I can just see that we're on the cusp of that happening again. There are so many people that have gotten into this business that have no clue of what they're doing. And the ironic part is they don't even know that they don't know. And more importantly, they are representing people who have no clue that they don't know. And at the end of the day, the impact to the client is they end up getting hurt because they were represented by people who were incompetent at best. Recently ran into a transaction, some folks who were pre-approved by their local credit union, okay? And this local credit union has a dominant market share, but I can tell you every month I probably take 2 to 4 or 5 transactions from them, because the skill set of the majority of the people that work for them is not what it needs to be. And what happens is people make the assumption, I'm just going to go to my local bank or credit union, and I'm going to get my mortgage there because that's where I have my checking account. And oftentimes what happens is you end up dealing with somebody who is the least competent and the least skilled person in the marketplace. Now, I don't want to paint with too broad of a brushstroke here, because every company has, people who are highly competent, and every company probably has people who are highly incompetent. Okay. But in this particular case, this organization, has a dominant market share, but they have a lot of people that could probably use some additional training and or knowledge on how to put a deal together. So this client's out there looking at a house, hey, they're told the maximum they can qualify for is, $120,000. And, too bad, too sad. If you need to spend more than that, it's not going to happen. Okay. Finally, their agent, says, gosh, what? There's no way that we're going to make this work. I really need to get a second opinion. I need to get them over to Dan so Dan can take a look at it and see what can have happen there. Okay. Now, in talking to the clients, what happens is the client's being told that there's no difference between a conventional mortgage and an FHA mortgage, which of course is not true. If there was no difference between the two, then why would you have both products, right? Go figure. Anyways, there is a substantial difference between the two. There's pluses and minuses to the two different products as well too. In this case, we get the client approved, from $120,000 to just under $150,000. And if we can move the needle in a couple other areas, we can probably get that number closer to about $160,000. That gives these folks a fighting chance at being able to make something happen and be able to become a homeowner, where had they not gotten to us, they wouldn't have had that opportunity and they wouldn't have had that chance. right? So in all these episodes where I talk about, it's really important that you work with, a realtor that knows what they're doing and a mortgage loan officer that knows what they're doing. It's really important, right? Because you can call and you can get information from all kinds of people, and you can make the assumption that the information you're getting is right and that the person you're talking to actually knows what they're doing. And I can tell you, as somebody who consumes a ton of information that's out there, I'm watching people in our local marketplace that, hey, I'm going to shoot a video and I'm going to talk about mortgages, and, I'm going to try to position myself as the local expert when it comes to mortgages. The nice part is I appreciate the effort. The problem is you don't know what you're doing. And I see this time and time again. Recently watched a video where, somebody spoke to self-employed borrowers. Oh, hey, self-employed borrowers, you got to have 2 years tax returns, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. You don't always have to have 2 years tax returns because at the end of the day, if you've been self-employed 5 years or longer, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac only require 1 year's tax return. Well, that 1 year's tax return can make the difference between you being qualified and not. More importantly, just because you get 2 years tax returns, do you really know how to read and understand the information that's in that tax return? I recently had another client turned down by his big national bank. Didn't qualify for a mortgage. And you read his tax returns. His tax return shows adjusted gross income of basically a loss of $26,000. So in other words, oh, hey, you don't make any money. You can't qualify for a mortgage, period. Well, had the loan officer gotten all the necessary information, asked the questions, really got deep into understanding the business's cash flow and how everything comes together, they would have realized that, hey, this guy makes about $120,000 a year. Hey, guess what? He qualifies for a mortgage. So I'm tired of just the incompetence in this industry. I can slap up a camera and I can take a great photo and I can pretend that I am the expert, the go-to guy in mortgages, or you can be like me and actually know what you're doing. I've got 29 years worth of experience in doing this. I have thousands of clients that I've helped become homeowners because I knew what I was doing and I knew how to put that deal together in such a way that the client was able to get across the finish line with the absolute right loan structure, and they were able to get approved under awesome terms versus, somebody telling you can't do something because they don't know what they're doing, or worse yet, somebody getting you approved and they're getting you approved under the worst possible loan structure because they either don't know how to structure the transaction or they don't have enough products or options available to get you where you need to be. I love, when I see lenders that have limited options, available, basically force you as a client to fall into the box of one of those limited options they have versus working for a company that provides tons of different solutions for you as a client to try to make sure that you have the absolute best loan structure that makes the most sense for you. So at the end of the day, if you want to work with a highly skilled, highly competent mortgage loan officer, I am able to lend in the majority of all 50 states. And we would love to have the opportunity to help you. Reach out. It's Dan Morales, 616-931-4629. NMLS number is 709729. Like I said, we'd love to have the opportunity to serve you. If you've listened to this podcast, for the last 152 episodes, that we know what we're talking about. That we know what we're doing. We know how to put a deal together. We know how to serve you as a client, because at the end of the day, what matters the most to me is that we've done right by our clients. We've done that for the last 29 plus years, and we're going to do it until I choose to walk away from this career and be done with it. We will always do what is in our client's best interest. We will always protect them from making a bad financial decision and make sure that they're properly educated to understand this process, to know what they're doing, to know what their options are, to make sure that they move forward into the best possible outcome when it's all said and done. Now, with that being said, I'm going to add one more part to this podcast. We're going to add another add-on, right? So I was just recently reading a post from another mortgage loan officer. They posted an article that was, 10 tips for first-time home buyers. Maybe I'll talk about this next week, because this is actually a really good article to take apart piece by piece, because it was so filled with so many flawed pieces of information. I was like, wow, I can't believe somebody would actually share this. And more importantly, just kind of misinform the general public, especially as a mortgage loan officer. Just a really bad idea to share it. So maybe we'll cover it next week. And I don't want to go too long in this week's episode, but that's another piece of content. There are so many things, guys, that I see out there in the marketplace. So much misinformation, so many things where people just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they don't know. It's that blind leading the blind. Yeah, I can give you examples of contracts that have been written by realtors where there are, gaping holes in the contract, or the contract is structured in such a way that the client is almost always going to lose every offer that they write because the agent doesn't know enough on how to structure the transaction in the right way so that their client has the best opportunity to win. So it really comes down to experience. I basically have done the same episode 100 different times where I keep harping on, you need to work with somebody who's experienced. You need to work with somebody who knows what they're doing. On the lending end, that's me. Okay, that's really simple. We lend in all 50 states. Not every product in every one of the 50 states, but darn near every product in the majority of states. And if you have a legitimate need for a product that we don't offer, I will make sure I get you connected with somebody who can offer you the product that you need to have that shares the same care and attention to detail to serve you the same way we will. So on the financing end, you need to reach out to us, and we'll make sure we take great care of you. On the real estate end, I have a network of lenders that I partner with throughout the country that have deep realtor relationships throughout the country as well too. I can guarantee you that I can help you find an agent in darn near every market in the country if you need somebody to help serve you. So reach out if we can help you. Again, Dan Morales over at North Point Bank. My NMLS number is 709729. Phone number is 616-931-4629. Online, you can find me on danmorales.com, DANMORALEZ.com. And of course, North Point Bank is an equal housing lender. Have a great day.